My name is Liz Breen. I'm an Emmy-nominated writer, which for those of you playing at home means that I have won 0 Emmy Awards. And I'm currently working as a creative director at Viewpoint Creative over in Newton, and I create content for clients including HBO, Showtime, and Travel Channel. Before that, I was a senior copywriter at Arnold Worldwide in downtown Boston, and my clients were Progressive Insurance and the National Association of Realtors. And when I first received the message from MindEdge a few months ago asking if I would be the speaker at this symposium, I thought, this can't be right. Because as the daughter of the teacher and the spouse of a teacher, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what it takes to teach America's youth. And let me tell you, I ain't got it. But then I read the description of this event, and there was a line in the 3rd paragraph that read, "We'll also explore a somewhat counterintuitive teaching strategy, narrative learning and the power of story." And it was that phrase, counterintuitive teaching strategy as it pertains to stories, that told me I did have something to say about this after all, because I believe people are hardwired for stories. In fact, I would go so far as to list our most basic needs as food, water, shelter, and a good story. When you think about it, stories may be the biggest thing that separate us from any other creature in terms of our behavior and our development. It is not our intelligence or our reasoning skills, and I know this because I have seen an octopus open a child-proof bottle faster than most humans. And it's not even our beloved opposable thumbs, because even certain species of frogs have got a pair of those. No, I'm pretty sure the biggest thing that separates us from any other species is our love of story, because no species is so interested in and so susceptible to stories quite like we are. And I think the biggest misconception about stories is that they are mostly for children and that they are generally escapist in nature. But 1, stories dominate almost every facet of our adult lives. More on that later. And 2, children's stories are riddled with horror. Maybe not the stories found like those within 2017's instant classic, The Emoji Movie. Terrible. But if you ever listen to children play with each other, the games that they are playing and the stories that they are pretending to be experiencing are full of conflict. They're pretending to be lost, they're being chased, they're being alone after a parent's death. And you may want to blame Bambi for that last one, but studies show that when we're young, making up such stories and pretending our way out of them help us to make sense of the world around us and role play through perils that we feel we may experience in the future. So although we aren't quite playing dress up into adulthood, or at least not as much, we never stop role-playing. Studies also show that the average daydream lasts about 14 seconds, and that a person daydreams up to 2,000 times a day. Now, I don't want to brag, but I do own a calculator, and that adds up to half of our waking hours. Seriously, half. And while you may think that all daydreams involve strutting down a red carpet or laying out on a Hawaiian beach, that also is not true. Like a child's game of make-believe, we often imagine the worst. After all, how many times have you practiced a difficult conversation in your head before you actually go confront the person? Or imagined what awful things could be happening when your child or your spouse isn't picking up the phone? Or all the awful things you'd rather be doing instead of listening to me ramble at this keynote speech? See, no matter our age or our developmental stage, our brains cannot help but make up stories, sometimes even when a story does not exist, as proven by Heider and Simmel in 1944. In their experiment, Heider and Simmel showed a group of 120 people this exact video of triangles, circles, and lines. And then when they asked these 120 people what they saw, 117 out of that 120 told them a story. Sometimes it was a comedy, other times it was a drama or a love triangle, pun totally intended. But only 3 people out of that whole group said what was actually happening, geometric shapes moving around on a screen. This was not a fluke either. Every single time this experiment has been replicated, the results have been similar. Stories run our lives, sometimes in ways we are aware, and sometimes in those sneaky secret ways that don't quite bubble to the level of consciousness. Take religion, for example. What is every religion if not a collection of stories that we subscribe to that tell us where we came from, how we are meant to live, and where we go when we die? And sports. Why do big sporting events like the Olympics or the Super Bowl pull in millions of viewers who would not otherwise describe themselves as sports fans? Is it because of patriotism, or could it be for weeks leading up to the event, the media has been feeding us stories about Gabby Douglas or Peyton Manning, about their childhoods and their unique challenges, and we want to see how that story ends for them? And politics. Forget the current political climate. Our political views have always been dictated by the stories we believe about what's going on in the world today and how to make the world even better in the future. Even therapy, at its core, is all about changing the mental story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. Now, please don't think I'm being reductive or that I know a whole heck of a lot about religion, sports, politics, or psychology. My attempt with this introduction is to show the pervasiveness of stories as it pertains to how we learn, perceive, grow, and function. Our brains, in essence, are story processing machines. And now for the fun part. I knew I'd get to it eventually, guys. Because while I can't show you exactly how to implement stories into a lesson plan, I can show you some story trends and narrative techniques that I find inspiring and how I have incorporated them successfully into my current work, namely advertising. Like teaching, advertising suffers its own version of TLDR, too long, didn't read. We'll call it TLDW, too lousy, didn't watch. Because in the panic of the DVR era, much of advertising has resorted to unskippable YouTube pre-roll as a way to guarantee impressions. But if you know someone is forced to sit through your content, the need or desire to actually make that content enjoyable pretty much goes away. Because hey, they're gonna be with you for at least 15 seconds whether they like it or not, right? Wrong. At least for me. Because for me, eyeballs are not the same as engagements, not even close. And I will take one engagement over 50 impressions every day of the week. So I imagine, like many educators out there, I often wonder how I can get people to actively engage with content that they might not have a natural interest in or inclination towards. And hey, it's advertising, so maybe they have a disdain for it. I wonder how I can cut through the distractions and make a lasting impression on my audience. And the answer for me is always hide my message within a story, because if I know there's one thing our brains cannot resist, it's a good story. This approach to my work means I draw a lot of inspiration from storytellers, and I'd like to share a story that has had a particular and kind of odd influence on me and my work. I'd like to talk to you about a book called Billy Twitters and His Blue Whale Problem. As you can see, it's a book for children ages 3 to 7 to be exact. And it's about a boy named Billy who has to clean his room in order to prove he is responsible enough for a pet. Only he does not clean his room, but his mother decides she is going to get him a pet anyway, but as a punishment. So she gets him a blue whale that he then has to cart around the streets of San Francisco. Now, as a book, Billy Twitters is fairly standard, but there's a page on the inside of the front jacket that makes it something really special in my eyes. It's an advertisement for a 30-day risk-free trial for a blue whale. And there's a real physical address, and kids just have to write to that address and they'll get a blue whale. Here is one actual letter that they were sent. It reads, "Dear people, I bet you $10 you won't send me a blue whale. Elliot Gannon, age 6. And what kids like Elliot who respond to this little advertisement get in return is obviously not a blue whale, but it's not even a stuffed whale. It's a legal document. It is a personalized letter from a fake Norwegian law firm informing the child that because of a change to customs laws, their whale has been held up in customs. But it does give the child the name of their whale and a picture of their whale and a phone number where they can call their whale and leave their whale a message. And if the kid then decides to call in, they're given a bunch of whale sounds followed by a beep. Here are some actual phone messages that a boy, Nico, left for his whale, Randolph.
Hello, this is Nico. I'm your owner, Randolph. Hello. So, this is the first time I can ever talk to you, and I might talk to you soon, another day. Bye. Hello, Randolph. This is Nico. I haven't talked to you for a long time, but I talked to you on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, Saturday or Sunday. So now I'm calling you again to say hello, and I wonder what you're doing right now, and I'm going to probably call you again tomorrow or today. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.
The book's author, Mac Barnett, talked about Nico at a TED Talk. And he went on to say that these are 2 of 25 total messages that Nico has left for Randolph over 4 years. To me, that is incredible. To get anyone to engage 25 times over 4 years of their life when they are getting nothing more out of it, that whale will never call Nico back. That's incredible. So what is this book offering the child that all the other books, movies, and shows that they have consumed don't? Why does he keep returning to it? If I were to guess, I would say that this book has captured the child's imagination because the world of the story has literally bled off the page and into his real life. And again, I want to emphasize that this sense of magic and wonder Nico feels has nothing to do with him being a child. Okay, it has like a tiny bit to do with him being a child, but these kinds of stories, the ones that hop from one facet of a person's life to another, are equally as captivating to adults. And I know because I tried it. Last year, I was tasked to create an ad campaign that utilized Modern Family's Phil Dunphy on behalf of the National Association of Realtors. For realtors, this was a really smart move. Modern Family has won many Emmys for Outstanding Comedy, Best Actor, Best Actress, and it has millions of loyal viewers each week. And one of the show's most lovable characters, Father Phil Dunphy, is a realtor.
What does it take to make a great salesman? It's no big secret. You just follow the ABCs of salesmanship. Always be closing. Don't ever forget, great home ideas just keep lurking, mostly nearby. Often people question realtors' sincerity. Take umbrage. Violators will... Oh, shoot. And this is the great room, although great hardly seems to do a room like this justice. Weird, squiggly painting not included.
I actually love it.
I do too. It's really beautiful. All custom built-ins, and you'll notice just tons of natural light, so that's great. Did I need the sale? Yes. Was I worried? No. Why? Because. Because why? Because I won't sell anything I don't believe in. And when I believe, you believe. I could sell a fur coat to an Eskimo.
So like I said, very, very smart positioning for our client, but also potentially treacherous. After all, you can't have Modern Family fans feel like their favorite character has sold out. You can't poke a gaping capitalist hole into the world that viewers already love. Rather, you have to bend that existing world a little bit to suit your own purposes. So my partner and I came up with this.
Many things differentiate a realtor from a real estate agent. For one, a realtor follows a strict code of ethics. No problem, because I was a highly decorated junior wilderness trooper who cannot lie. Okay. Truth is, by highly decorated, I mean the other kids put makeup on me while I was asleep, but it was only because I built the best fire. Okay, it was because I brought a picture of my dog, my mom, brushing my hair. See? Ethics.
And one more, because I'm just a proud mama.
A slow home buyer is a no home buyer. Navigating the real estate world requires cat-like reflexes. No, that's too early. Requires cat-like reflexes. Now, cat-like. This isn't that hard, guys. When I say reflexes, what if I throw the ball back and you reverse it on film? Sexual fear, Kyle tack. Run that backwards. It's cat-like reflex.
So we called this campaign Real Estate Philosophies, and it's actually based on a real episode of Modern Family in season 4, where Phil makes a book that he titles his Philosophy of all the strange life lessons he's learned, and he gives this book to his daughter the day before she goes to college.
Especially when I give her this. Philosophy, a hardbound collection of all the life lessons I've learned, such as always look people in the eye. Even if they're blind, just say, "I'm looking you in the eye." Or, if you get pulled over for speeding, tell the policeman your spouse has diarrhea. Philosophy.
So all my partner and I did was watch this episode and say, hey, what if we just did that with real estate? Essentially, we extended the world of Modern Family, brought it into a new area of people's lives, and we blurred fiction and reality by making this fictional character the spokesperson for a real-life brand. And it turned out to be a big boost for the National Association of Realtors and a contender for some of the year's top advertising awards. Now, at this point, some of you are probably thinking, yeah, this is cool and fun and all is, but the periodic table of elements doesn't have a whole lot to do with Modern Family. To which I would say, I understand. In my career, projects like real estate philosophies have proven to be the exception, not the rule. I rarely get juicy material like Modern Family or exciting characters like Phil Dunphy to work with. And a lot of the times, the message I'm tasked with delivering to an audience is a little dry at best and downright boring at worst. But no matter their constraints, there are always ways that I can elevate the quality of my work and improve engagement by incorporating elements of storytelling. Maybe I work with original characters like I did in this Progressive commercial.
Where are we?
About to see Progressive's new Home Quote Explorer, where you can compare multiple quote options online and choose what's right for you.
Whoa.
Flo and Jamie here to see HQX.
Flo and Jamie, request entry.
Slovakia. Triceratops. Tapioca. Racquetball. Staccato.
Me llamo Jaime.
Pumpernickel. Pudding.
Hey, guys.
Home Quote Explorer. It's home insurance made easy.
That's what it is. Hey, guys.
Or maybe I make the viewer my main character. And by that I mean, maybe I build the content in such a way that it only takes on meaning once it has been filtered through the viewer's own beliefs or life experiences, like with this print ad. The headline reads, "Dad, can I borrow some money?" And then in the bottom it says, "Your 15-year-old son," with a picture of regular strength aspirin, and then "Your 45-year-old son," next to a picture of extra strength aspirin. Now, I did not make that ad, but it's a great example of making your audience your point of view character. Because for that ad to have any real meaning, it must be read and interpreted by someone who believes that no, it is not okay for a 45-year-old man to be financially dependent on his father. Or maybe I don't utilize character at all. Maybe I simply borrow the style, tone, or language of a story genre, like with the social posts I produced earlier this year that make fairly boring housing-related topics like zoning laws and morning commutes feel more interesting and more memorable simply by borrowing the language of a 1940s horror film. So on the left, we have the creature from the unpermitted edition. From the depths of hell comes a creature with no regard for zoning laws. And then on the right, we have killer commute. The house was a dream, the traffic, a nightmare. Or lastly, maybe I play to our humanity. Maybe I show how we are all similar by pointing out the emotions or life experiences that we all share, the way a story might do with a larger theme.
Well, like most of you, I just bought a house.
Oh, very nice.
Now I'm turning into my dad.
I text in full sentences.
I refer to every child as chief.
This hat was free. What am I supposed to do? Not wear it?
Next thing you know, I'm telling strangers defense wins championships.
Well, it does.
Why is the door open? Are we trying to air condition the whole neighborhood?
At least I bundled home and auto on an internet website, Progressive.com.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto.
I mean, why would I replace this? It's not broken.
So you'll notice with the last three examples that I showed you, the print ad, the social post, and that final commercial, they haven't even really told a complete story. They've just incorporated storytelling elements like style, tone, and theme into the messaging. And somehow even that is enough to pique our curiosity and boost our level of mental engagement. That's the power that narratives have over our brains. Like chocolate chip cookies, all it takes is a whiff and our mouths are watering for more. So, where do you go from here? Well, if your answer is, I'm going to go complain to Jeff that their keynote speaker showed up to a higher ed conference with a bunch of advertisements and a children's book, just hear me out for a minute. Because despite the many differences between teaching and advertising, they both rely on getting a sizable group of people from completely different backgrounds to resonate with the same content. What I hope I've shown here today, in some small way, is that nothing can engage people, be they young, old, man, woman, quite like chocolate chip cookies. I mean stories. Thank you so much for letting me share my work here today and my deep appreciation for stories with you. It's been a real honor, and I hope that you all live happily ever after. Thank you.